Hi everyone, and welcome to the Knit California podcast. My name is Leslie. I'm Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok. And this is episode 9 of my 2024 podcast series. I'm so excited to be back with you today. It has been 2 weeks since my last podcast. Last weekend I was up in Portland for the Rose City Yarn Crawl, and I was hanging out with Rachel from Rachel is Knitting and Ella of Dislocated Needles, and we were just having a grand old time. And I didn't come back home until Sunday evening, and there was just no time to film and get out a podcast. I kind of knew and had planned for that all of my goals for the week before would kind of roll over into this last week that we just had. And instead of a podcast episode coming out, the last 2 videos from my Yarn Stash spring cleaning series came out. So the whole series is now complete. The first one was about how to destash. The second one was tips on organizing your yarn stash with a vlog of me reorganizing mine. And then the third one was tips for intentionally purchasing yarn, building your collection, and it included a little thought exercise template sheet on how to purchase yarn if you really want to buy skeins but you don't know what you're gonna knit, kind of thinking through that so that you have a little bit of a plan going into a pre-order or a yarn crawl or a yarn festival as festival season's coming up. So all of those videos are out there. Go check them out if you're interested and you haven't seen them yet. I'm really proud of the whole 3 video series. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Today is March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I am not wearing green today because I'm wearing a finished object. Finally, we have a finished object on the podcast. In fact, I have almost 2 finished objects today, which is crazy. I know, we've barely had any finished objects in the whole 8 episodes of 2024. So I'm excited to talk to you about this today. I will mention that we are not going to be talking about today my Ingrid sweater. I did not make any progress on that the last 2 weeks, or my Farnham sweater, because I also did not make any progress on that the last 2 weeks, or my Sweet Shop blanket, but you're not surprised about that, are you? So let's go ahead and talk about my Kal Cardigan finished object. Alright, so this is the Kal Cardigan by Claire Jackson. She's at Perfectly Knotted on Instagram. And the yarn that I used for this is Bella Filato Studio in the Bella Worsted base. The colorway is called Cozy Flannel. And let me give you the main stats about this first, and then we'll talk about knitting experience, final fit, the buttons, and everything else. So I cast this on January 4th, finished it on March 13th. Yes, it took me a little over 2 months to knit this. However, as you probably know, I've had so many other whips on the needles. So this was, if I had been focusing on this and this was the only project that I was working on at one time, it would not have taken me 2 months to knit this. This is the second time I have knit this pattern. The first time I knit it in a blue-green yarn, and now I'm knitting it in pink, so I really like it. If that tells you anything, I liked it so much I knit it twice. I knit the size 4, which corresponds to a 50-inch bust. and I knit it on 5mm needles for the body and 4.5mm needles for the sleeve, cuffs, and the bottom ribbing. The pattern itself is like really interesting because it's kind of like a drop shoulder. It is a drop shoulder, but it's kind of like a drop shoulder raglan mix, because the way that it works is you cast on the back panel and then you have these shoulder seams, one on this side and one on this side. And this is kind of like the part that's like a raglan, where you're increasing off of this seam, but there's only two of them. There's only one on each shoulder. So you're building up the back panel this way while also building up the front panel at the same time. And then eventually you stop, you finish knitting the back panel, you come back, you knit the two front panels, and you join under the arms to then knit the body. It is knit completely flat because it's a cardigan. And the other interesting thing about this is the button band that you knit at the same time as well. So that's really nice. You don't need to pick this up at the end. But the button band and this seam on the shoulder are actually knit in brioche stitch. Now, the first time I knit this cardigan was last year in like July, August time frame. I had never knit brioche before that. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna learn it. I really like this cardigan and I want to learn brioche, so we're just gonna do it. And this was a really nice like intro into brioche, because this is 11 stitches. This is 3 stitches. And then you come back and you do it on the other side. You've got 3 stitches here and then 11 stitches. So what is that? 22 plus 6, 28 stitches total in each row that you're doing brioche. It's not that much at all. It's a very like easy way to ease yourself in to learning this. And I just love it. So let's see. I don't know if there's any other stats. I kind of knit this one like a cross between what the pattern instructions and then like my modifications from the first time I knit the sweater. And my modifications were really mostly just for length, both in the sleeves and in the body. But for this one, I was playing yarn chicken. And so my body measurement length is not as long as I want it to be. And that is because this is literally how much yarn I ended up with. At the end, I think I could have maybe got 1 or 2 more rows out of it. Maybe 1, maybe 2. But I'll show you. I can just stand up here. It's pretty short. You know, it's a decent length in the back, but the front is pretty short because, you know, it has to come out over my boobs. But the sleeves are good. And this was what I was like mostly worried about. I was mostly worried about the sleeves being too short, because that's been my issue with like a lot of sweaters recently. So if you remember, when I was working on this, I like knit most of the sleeve and then I put the sleeves on hold so that I could finish the body. And then eventually I got to the point where I was like, I'm running out of yarn. I need to finish the sleeves before I can like just use the rest of the yarn on the body. And so that's what I did. And I am very happy with the length of the sleeves. I think the circumference of the sleeves, especially after the elbow, they're a little loose. I could have increased the decrease rate so that there was a little bit less fabric in the sleeves, and that would have given me a bit more yarn to use on the body, but it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to go back at this point and switch it up, so it is what it is. But yeah, that's it on like the fit really. And then the other thing that I just wanted to show you are the buttons. I absolutely love these buttons. I picked these out when we were in Ireland at a local yarn shop in Dublin called This Is Knit. And I saw these buttons and they had this like rosy pink sheen to them, and I was like, those are going to be so perfect for my Kal cardigan. And bought them back in October, and finally now in March I'm able to use them. And I pulled them out the other day to put them on my cardigan, and I was like, am I sure these are the right buttons? Like, they don't look pink at all. And then I put them next to the yarn, and when they're like on the cardigan and they're next to the yarn, the pink really just shines. It's like a glaze, a pink glaze, and it just looks so good. I love them so much. So I'm excited that I was finally able to use these. I'm excited now that I finally have a finished object. I love it so much. I just wish the body was a little bit longer, especially in the front. But I think especially if I wear it open with like a t-shirt underneath, it's not going to be that much of an issue. It's only when I'm wearing it closed and I feel like it rides up above the waist of my jeans and I'm like, oh, this kind of looks a little bit weird. So I'm just going to have to wear it open and that'll be fine. So I'm so happy that it's done. I've got one thing off the needles and I can really focus on some of my other whips. I'm really trying to focus on finishing my whips right now because, you know, we're into the middle of March. We're creeping up on spring very, very quickly here. And I would like to get some spring knits, tank, another tee on my needles. And I would love to get some of these full-length sweaters off the needles. We're going to talk a little bit more about my spring knitting plans in a separate video. Hopefully by then I'll have like an idea of like how I can finish. The main two that I'm really thinking of are my Ingrid sweater and my Farnham sweater. Like, how can I like get those done and off the needles and then cast on more spring projects? Or do I need to make that decision of like, okay, are they just going to carry over? Am I going to put them on pause for right now and pick them up later in the summer so that they're ready for fall, winter next year? I don't know. I kind of need to make that decision. But anyways, yes, just having this off of my needles, I feel like has opened up my knitting like brain space, my knitting mojo, and I'm also like fairly close to finishing my next project as well. So let's go ahead and talk about that, and that one is my Riley tee. Okay, so I am knitting the Riley tee by Rachel Kurihara, and the yarn that I'm using for this is Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. This colorway is Diamond of the First Water. It is a colorway based off of Daphne from the Bridgerton series, Bridgerton collection. This yarn was up for pre-order a couple weeks ago. Sold very well, so I'm really happy about that. And the base that I'm knitting this on, the yarn is the Regency Romance DK, which is a 50% merino, 50% silk yarn. So this was actually like my first, spring tee of 2024 on the needles. And like I mentioned, I'm really close to getting it done. So let me show you my progress. Like, the body looks like it is done. So it's not 100% done, but it's very close. So you can see, here's where I was 2 weeks ago on the podcast. I was right here. I got these, my friend Sarah, who I met at the So Cal Fiberfest makes these stitch marker progress keepers, and she sent me 4 Taylor Swift theme progress keepers. So this one is like a hand with a microphone with the 13 on it. This is a total sidetrack, but I just want to show you how cute these are because I love them. Okay, and I had to put, she made these for me and sent them to me because the Taylor Swift Eras Tour movie is now available to watch on Disney Plus. And so I was talking about it leading up to the date, and then on Thursday is when the movie came out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And she was like, go check your mailbox, you should have these progress keepers in there, and you can like use them while you're knitting and watching the movie, which is exactly what I did. So this one is red, and then this one here, let me put my whip down, there we go. This one says not a lot going on at the moment, and it's like the 22 sunglasses. And then this one is from Reputation, and it says, if a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. So this was a really fun gift. And then, yes, on Thursday, while watching the Eras Tour movie, I knit so much of this. So you can see, this is where I was 2 weeks ago. I did not work on this very much the first week because I was in Portland at the Rose City Yarn Crawl. I actually did bring this to work on, but I had a minor freak out that the next skein of yarn that I brought was like a different dye lot and was very noticeable. Didn't have another skein to like alternate skeins or to switch, so I just did not work on this while I was in Portland. But since getting back this week, I have made all of this progress, and I'm really happy with it. I tried it on the other day. This was on Thursday before I started movie knitting, so I'll put a photo up so you can see what it looks like. And I figured out how many more inches I wanted to knit before my bind off, and I am now at that point. So all I need to do now is I'm going to switch to my smaller needle size, and I'm gonna do the 2 inches for, it's like a folded hem. So knit 1 inch, I think you'd knit a purl row, knit another inch, and then fold it up and bind it off. And then I'm gonna pick up the collar and then the 2 sleeves, and I really think I can get all of this done this week, and have another finished object for you next weekend, which I'm very excited about. Number one, because I love that finished object feeling. I know we all do. It'll be so nice to get another project off the needles, and just like as we transition into spring, so that I can cast on more spring things, but also because this is already a spring top, I'll already have something new for my like spring summer wardrobe, which I will be very excited about. And yeah, oh, and the other thing is, not this coming week, but next week, the week after, we're going on a spring break cruise. So I'll have hopefully a newly finished top tee to wear on the cruise. So that's my Riley tee. Let's see, I didn't give you any of the specs, so really quickly. I'm knitting the size extra large, which corresponds to a 49-inch bust. And I'm knitting it on 4.5 millimeter needles. I started this on February 16th, so we're right at 1 month right now, basically today, March 17th. So hopefully 1 month and 1 week will be enough to get this one finished. I'm loving knitting this up. The yarn is really nice. So I talked about before, this was the one skein that I had brought with me up to Portland, and I was just like looking at it and I was like, it's just I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's lighter than the rest of my knitting up here, and I had another skein at home, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go just bring it back and I'll check to see if the other skein is a little bit darker and matches better. And this was the other one, and I do think it is a little bit darker. I think you can kind of tell that. So once I had gotten like halfway through this skein, I did start alternating skeins. You'll be so proud of me. I know how to alternate skeins, and I actually did start alternating skeins on the body. And I think I'm going to just use this though for the hem. I think, and then I might try to see if I can get all of the collar out of this much yarn. And if not, then we'll just have to do some more alternating, I think. And then the sleeves will have to all be this yarn, which it'll be fine. Maybe I'll do the collar in the lighter yarn because it'll match the hem in the lighter yarn, and then I can like start alternating with this on the sleeves, and then the sleeves will just end with this one. I don't know, I'll figure it out. But I don't think, I mean, I can see it a little bit where there's just a little bit more like white rose compared to where there is up here, but I think when I'm wearing it, you're not gonna notice. So anyway, that's the story of my Riley tee and its trip to Portland. It just got a free trip to Portland and didn't get much work done on it, but that's okay. Hopefully it'll be done this week. Okay, I've got one more exciting thing to show you. I lied, I have two more things. So let me talk to you next about my Dust Bunny cardigan. Okay, so I'm knitting the Dust Bunny cardigan. This is a free pattern from Hedgehog Fibers, and the yarn that I'm using for this, hold on, let me get it out. The yarn that I'm using for this is Treehouse Knits on her Magnolia Brushed Merino base in the colorway Renewal. Unfocused. This is like a DK worsted weight yarn that is 90% extra fine superwash merino wool and 10% nylon, 164 yards per 50 grams. This was the other project that I took with me to Portland, and I knit pretty much all of this on the way there and while we were there and on the way home. I don't have a progress keeper on this, so I do remember showing this to you on the last podcast, but I think it was only, you know, like this much done. And now I split for sleeves. Yay! Yay! And I'm working on the body. I pretty much just split for sleeves though. There's like maybe 2 rows underneath that, but I'm really liking it. It's a really fun project to work on because the yarn is so much different than like any other yarn that I'm like using right now. It's fluffy and it's fun. I would say it is pretty slippery, so I am using my metal Chaogu needles, and you kind of got to be careful. I feel like I can't go super fast because like there's a potential for the yarn to just like slide right off the needle. So if that's something that you're sensitive to, I would definitely recommend using wood needles with this yarn. But I'm loving the project. My initial like thought for this yarn was I just wanted like a fluffy, a slightly oversized cropped cardigan, and I had the Dust Bunny cardigan pattern from Hedgehog Fibers like in my mind because I saw it when we were in Ireland at Hedgehog Fibers. The yarn that they recommend for it and that their sample is made out of is from the Hedgehog Fibers alpaca boucle yarn, which is like a lace weight yarn. And I'm modifying this pattern because I'm using this like DK / worsted weight yarn, but I think it's coming out really nicely and very close to what I had envisioned for this yarn, so I'm really happy about it. I'm knitting this on 6mm needles, and I'm knitting the size large from the pattern, which corresponds to Oh, it's meant for a 40 to 42 inch bust. And there is some positive ease in here, but I didn't write that down. But it is the 4th pattern size. This is a size inclusive pattern. So if you've got any like alpaca boucle, like lace weight, Surrey, and you want like a kind of like a thin fuzzy cardigan, that's really what this is meant to look like when it's knit up. I do have some of the alpaca boucle in my stash from hedgehog fibers that I would like to knit this up in eventually, but so far I'm really liking it. It's a very simple raglan cardigan. You can see my raglan there. It's got make one increases, so that's all I really have to say about this right now. This one is kind of gonna go on the back burner for my like project queue, I would say, for now, and kind of just be there when I want to work on like a flat stockinette project. I would really like to focus more on my other 2 sweaters and, you know, my spring knits coming up here in the future. So it might be a while before you see that one on the podcast again. Okay, I've got one more very exciting project to talk to you about. So let's get into it. Okay, this feels like a fun announcement. I'm making my own pattern. Yay! It's not a garment. It is a Kindle case. My Kindle's already in here. Here it is. Dun, da, da, da. I knit this whole thing yesterday. Cast it on and knit the whole thing, and I just need to at this point add the closure piece here. I have a couple ideas of what I want to do with this, but I've had this idea for a while. I don't have my own case on my Kindle. I never have, and I've thought about knitting a little, it's almost like a sock tube for my Kindle, and I finally just decided to do it. I do have a pop socket on my Kindle, and so this fits, you know, I'm using a superwash merino yarn. I'll talk about that in a second. So it, you know, it fits fine. It stretches enough that the pop socket has room in there. And I just think it's so fun and it's so cute, and there are so many different like options for yarn. You can use a solid yarn, a variegated yarn, we can do stripes, we can do color blocking. I think there's a great opportunity for color work with, like, you know, we've got this like square here. We can do like a color work book cover or logo of some kind. There's a lot of different opportunities here. And then, yeah, and I have a couple different ideas for closures as well. So my thought is, I knit this whole thing yesterday. I'm gonna write this up into a pattern. I'm gonna knit at least one other sample, if not 2 more. I'm gonna get a couple testers for this. I don't think I need a whole ton of testers, just a few. And I'm gonna get this up on Ravelry within the next, I don't want to put a time frame on myself. I don't know. I feel like I can do it relatively quickly, but maybe not. So I'm not gonna say when I'm thinking, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. And let me tell you about the yarn, because this yarn is actually available for pre-order right now. So this yarn is from Kimber's Cozy Creations. The colorway is Funfetti, and you can see all of the gorgeous, here, let me take this off. All of the gorgeous like speckles in here. They look like sprinkles. There's blue, orange, yellow, pink, purple. I love it. It's actually absolutely gorgeous. And so this is available on any of her bases, or you can get it in a sock set, and you can choose any of these 3 minis to be part of your sock set. So you can choose 1, you can choose 2, or you can choose all 3. And it's just so much fun. So this is Funfetti, pink, aqua, green. I got all three of these on her 4-ply sock base, which is called her Cozy Fingering Base. And it's a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, 463 yards per 100 grams. And the minis are 20 grams, 92 yards. So, like I said, this is available now for pre-order. I have an affiliate link in the description box down below and in a comment down below if you're interested in getting some for yourself. I think this color, like, you know, I used it for this little Kindle case. I think this would be absolutely perfect for fun socks, especially with all these like mini skein options for heels, toes, cuffs, stripes, all that sort of thing. I think this color would also be perfect for like a kid's tee or top or sweater, or like a baby hat. The School Run hat from Laura Penrose, she has a baby version with 2 pom-poms on it. I think this would be absolutely perfect for that. So yeah, I hope you like it, and if you want to get some for yourself, go for it. Let me talk you through a little bit more about the Kindle case. So my current thought right now for closures with this, and like honestly, so what I did was, you know, this is all knit in 1 needle size, and then this is a folded over double knit like band right here, and I did go down a needle size, and with this like purl row right before the band, it actually like brings the top in a little bit, so like there's actually like not much risk of your Kindle falling out of this because of that band, but I always envisioned it with some sort of closure just to be safe. So my current thought, I went to Joann's yesterday and picked up a couple of things. These are like snap-on closures from they're called sew-on snaps. That's what they're called, sew-on snaps. I went into the sewing section. I don't spend much time in there. I like walked around the whole store and I was like, where are these things I'm looking for? And then I was finally like, oh yeah, let's check out the sewing section. Duh. Anyway, so these sew-on snaps, and I'm sure you've seen these before. A lot of like, I just did my nail polish. I don't want to mess it up. Anyways, they're just 2 sides that snap together like this. And so my thought is I would have 2 of them on the inside. Okay, so imagine these on the inside, but like one here and one here, evenly placed, and then you can just, you know, snap it closed, snap it open. I also want to make a second version that does not have the top folded over band, that just has a zipper. And so I think right above where the Kindle sits, I think if I sewed in a zipper right there, I think that would be really fun as well. And I bought this fun pink for the Funfetti, although when I knit my second sample of this, I'll probably use a different yarn just for visual interest and like pattern photos and such. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It was a quick, I mean, it took me like all day, but generally speaking, a quick knit. I used this is 38 grams of yarn total, so great for, you know, yarn scraps. I can picture like a really scrappy like striped version as well. Just, you know, whatever you've got going for you. And it's really easy to just stick it in. Drop it. There we go. And so yeah, I'm definitely taking this on my cruise in a couple weeks, and my Kindle will be protected from just being in my bag and getting all scratched up. So I'm really excited about it, and I hope you are as well. All right, that is all of the updates that I have for you today. Let's see, coming up this week, I really want to finish my Riley tee. That's going to be top of the order. I'm hoping to film a spring knitting plans video as well, either probably this coming week, maybe next weekend. So that'll go live either this week or next week. And yeah, probably get at least one new spring top on my needles here. We'll have to see. So other than that, I still have all of my general knitting goals for my Ingrid sweater. I'm on to the crosshatch section, and my Farnham sweater, I'm still working on the front panel. That one seems like it's got a long way to go before it'll be done. But I do really enjoy knitting on that one, so we'll see. But yeah, that's it. We have now come to the end of the episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the other videos that I post. If you don't follow me over on Instagram, you can go follow me at Knit California. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
Mm-hmm.